What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. This is our monthly installment of Hot Keys for the month of December 2021. I can't believe this year is almost over and we're going out with a bang. We had some really interesting books pick up steam and hit the ground running this month. Before we get into those books, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. Check out all the awesome links below as well. And to celebrate the channel recently reaching 9,000 subscribers, I am doing a 9K giveaway. I'll be giving away this beautiful The Boys #1 exclusive Comic Tom Gem Mint MMC variant, as well as an amazing Spider-Man 75 Gleason variant. Beautiful, beautiful cover. All you need to do to be entered to win these books is to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, click the notification bell, and leave a comment below on this video. All right, but let's get into some hot books. First one up, we got Amazing Spider-Man 51. This is the book I've been talking about a lot lately, probably over the last year or so more. This is the second appearance of Kingpin and first cover appearance of Kingpin. And it's also the first appearance of Robbie Robertson. That sometimes gets, forgotten or pushed to the side just because of what this book means for Kingpin. So, spoiler warning for those that haven't watched Hawkeye. Put it on mute for a moment or skip this part of the video. But without saying too much, there might be some Easter eggs dropped that show that the Kingpin might show up by the end of the show, or maybe showing up in the MCU in an official capacity sometime in the near future. Now that's huge, and that could be part of the reason why this book picked up steam, because I know those that watched the show and saw what we saw, I'm not the only one. Now, we've already been talking about, bring Vincent D'Onofrio back. They got to bring him back into the MCU properly. There's been all this talk about Charlie Cox coming back, and now it's official. Kevin Feige confirmed Charlie Cox will be back as Daredevil in the MCU. So over the last, I would say probably 6 months, Kingpin has been hot. Amazing Spider-Man #50 has just boomed. And I've been telling folks, this book right here, this was, I do believe, on one of my undervalued keys to invest in videos not too long back earlier this year. This book has a lot of steam to gain, in my humble opinion still. Let's look at these numbers. Current CGC 8.5 fair market value, $434 roughly. We're looking at just a year ago, folks. So this was still in the COVID market. 226. That's a 92% increase. That is solid. It's almost doubled. And a recent high raw went for 322. Now, again, high raw just means the highest dollar amount sale. It doesn't mean grade. I don't know what the grade was. You can assume that it was somewhere of a higher grade. But this book has been moving up. My thoughts on it, this is a book to buy right now. I'm sure there's still deals out there. If you could find one that you feel is good to your budget and you're willing to take the risk and make that investment, I'd say it could be a decent time to buy because of these variables. If we do get a actual full-on confirmation that Kingpin is going to show up in the MCU, this book is going to spike. Now, Kingpin is a character that is a legacy character that, and these are Silver Age keys right here. So we know how books ebb and flow, spike and dip a little bit with MCU hype. This is one that I don't think is going to come back down extremely at any point in time, even after a sharp increase. Standard ebb and flow is understandable and is healthy for any market, but that's just my theory. So look, if you could find this for a good deal, and like I always say, I'm not here to tell you what to buy, but if you got love for the book, you're willing to take the risk, just be smart about it. Let's move on to number 4 on the list. Sleepwalker #1. This book has been picking up steam. Hey, what can I say? I actually talked about this book earlier this year on, Marvel #1s, I believe it was. And look, you never know with these characters. This is the first appearance of Sleepwalker. And this book has gotten hot because of a silly rumor right now. A silly rumor about a character possibly named Sleepy, I believe, showing up in a future MCU project. Let's look at these numbers. Current CGC, 9.8 fair market value, $212, where just last year it was sitting at 95. That's a 123% increase with a recent high raw of 60 bucks. Okay. Do I think it's a good time to buy this book right now? Absolutely not. When I was talking about it earlier this year, yeah, because you could probably still find it maybe for, $5 or 3, 4, $5. I would chill on this book because people are looking for this book and FOMOing on this book for a speculatory reason that doesn't hold any weight. So what can happen is if this Sleepy character doesn't pan out to be Sleepwalker, this book can dip really hard. So, but again, you're always taking a gamble because if it does turn out to be Sleepwalker, then the book can continue to spike upward. But I don't know if that spike will last, but I'll go back to setting new floors like I always talk about. Even though this is an early 90s book, probably a decently sized print run, even if Sleepwalker shows up and the book starts to cool off, it's going to set a new floor. You're probably going to forget finding this book for under $5, maybe even $10 at some point. So again, if you didn't already purchase this book, you may have missed the bus to get it for under that $5 mark, but there could still be a time where you could get it for an affordable price where it's not, it's completely sought after, where demand is exceeding supply and driving that price up right now solely off of a rumor that might possibly not pan out, if that makes sense. Be cautious with this one. All right, next on the list is the Recount #1 from Scout Comics. This book has been moving, talks of it being optioned and so forth. I heard it's a really good story. I actually had my Comic Tom variant exclusive, Virgin variant, and I actually traded it to a good friend of the community that really wanted it. He sent me some Spider-Man books, so it was really awesome. I do wish I kind of read it first, though, because I was reading into the story and I was like, this really sounds interesting. So I think it would make good for a good series, too, if it is indeed optioned. Look at these numbers. Current CGC 9.8 fair market value. I do believe there was just one sold for $190 recently, but fair market value at the time of release, there was one sold for $85. So you could see that, move 124% there, but those are just single books. It's not like a calculated fair market value of averages of multiple books, but it goes to show you that this book continues to get hot with a recent high raw sale of $60 as well. So, again, I just, when things are optioned, it's, be cautious again, because these are things, sometimes they don't pan out, and sometimes they do pan out and you get the show and they don't pan out to be that good or whatever the case may be. And just the hype dies down. So I would just, again, be very, very careful investing in this book and just be smart and patient with your decision making. Next up, we have a beautiful Silver Age key, Tales of Suspense 57, first appearance of Hawkeye. Well, I wonder why this book made the hot list for December. I mean, I personally am absolutely loving the Hawkeye show. The dynamic between Clint and Kate. Say what you want, art is subjective and there's some people out there that aren't really liking it. I'm absolutely loving it. I don't know if it's my favorite yet of the shows. I'll wait till it's done, but I've just enjoyed every minute of it. And hey, Hawkeye's getting some love. This book made the list. Let's look at these numbers. Current CGC in a 6.0, fair market value roughly around the $2,500 mark, whereas just a year ago, $657. Again, that was already in the COVID age where a lot of books were already seeing increases. That's a 281% increase. We had a recent high raw sell for $1,802. Wow, I'm going to assume that was a really high grade looking book. I don't know, but I'm going to assume so. I wish I owned this book, but I don't. Will I ever? I hope so, because I would love to have more of these Tales of Suspense, but there's so much goodness in these Tales of Suspense books. But I'm happy that Hawkeye is getting some love when it comes to folks really seeking this book out and investing in it. And I'm sure, not only with Clint, but with Kate Bishop, we know what's going on around her character. So, all right, folks, we have one more book, but before we talk about that book, as always, if you don't know, you can get 10% off of your supplies from BCW if you use the code JOURNOS when buying from bcwsupplies.com. Their link is below. Again, you use that code JOURNOS, get 10% off of your comic supply orders. It could be a small order, it could be a large order, and the code never expires, so you can use it on every single order that you make. So go ahead, use that code next time that you buy some comic book supplies. You guys know me, I do stand by BCW Supplies. About 90% of my supplies that I use are BCW. So journos for 10% off. But with that said, let's get in to number one on the list today. And well, what can I say? Daredevil 51 from the 1998 series. Echo showing up in Daredevil, and her books are flying off the shelves, flying off the websites, off of eBay. This is the origin of Echo. Look at these numbers. Current CGC 9.6 fair market value. There was one that just sold recently for $100. There was none before that. There was only one other book on the market graded, and I think or on the census, and I think it was at 8.5. Nobody was grading this book until recently, and both of them sold in November. Look at this though, and I base this percentage on the raw books. A recent high raw sold for $60. Previous raw average, $3. That's a 1,900% increase. Wow. Well, why? You guys know why. Echo's shown up in the MCU. I'm loving her character so far. And hey, this is fair game, and give this character her propers. But would I spend $60 on this book raw when I could have got it for like $3, $4, $5 just a couple weeks ago? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So this is a situation, this is what I would do. And I'm not telling all of you what to do. This is the problem with the FOMO and us being reactionary. Now, people will say, "Oh, these prices shouldn't even be this high. It's market manipulation, or it's not organic, or it's a bubble, or it's inflated." Whatever verbiage you want to use, don't get it twisted, because these are still organic numbers and organic values. And let me tell you why. I always say fair market value is based on supply and demand of any given supply that's available on the market at one given time. If demand exceeds the supply at that one given time, it's going to drive the price up. So when we saw Echo show up in the Hawkeye show, what happened was, most likely, so many people went out to eBay and online or wherever looking for these books. Any book with Echo, her first appearance, her first full appearance of Maya Lopez, and then her first appearance as Echo, which has gotten hot. And the next best thing, you go to the origin, right? This happens. And because this was not really a book that was sought out prior, because now her first appearance and first full appearance are shooting through the roof, then you have your dealers or your sellers that say, okay, what's the next best thing that I could push out there to give these buyers that are speculating on this character something that that they can afford or get for a reasonable price. That's this one, right? But what happens is the supply doesn't necessarily catch up with the demand. So all of a sudden, all these people get hit to this book, but nobody's like listing this book on eBay like it's a key, because nobody really even knew about this book or cared about this book, as in sellers, because it was a $3 book. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time pushing this, right? So what can possibly happen in the near future is dealers start getting into their collections and in their inventory, and they start saying, oh, look, I have one of these or a couple of these Daredevil 151s, and maybe I have 4 or 5 or 6 of them. They start listing them on eBay. They start listing them on Mercari or whatnot. And then the supply starts to really saturate the market, and it balances out with the demand, which can then drive that price back down. So I don't own this book. If I was in the market to buy it, that's the thinking that I would use, and I would sit patiently and wait, because I do believe that this book is going to come back down at least for the short term. Hopefully, Echo is a character that has a long shelf life in the MCU, and she's not a one and done to this series. I absolutely don't think so, because I do believe that I don't know if we got official confirmation, but I know there was talks with Marvel Studios for Echo to get her own show. So I do believe she is going to have a long shelf life, and I do believe that character is going to have this popularity now, be a namesake within fans, whether it's casual fans or fans of the comics, and then everyone in between, right? So these books are going to be long-term investments, something to look at, but just be careful with the short term. Watch for that ebb and flow, all right? That's my books today for the month of December. Like I said, these ones have just been flying off the shelves and off of eBay and all the online sites for a reason. And now you know. I want to hear your thoughts below, folks. Before we go, as always, got to give a big shout out to all the members of my channel, to my Patreon members. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you all are interested in becoming a Patreon member, it's only $3.99. You get extra perks every month. I will be running a New Year's holiday year-end contest specifically for my Patreons towards the end of the month. So for all of you, look out for that. And also to my YouTube channel members, if you're interested in becoming a YouTube channel member, that's only $1.99 a month. You get some extra perks there too, but most importantly, it does just help support the channel and helps allow me to continue to make content for you guys almost every single day of the week. So thank you all so much for watching. Again, remember, make sure you're subscribed, click the notification bell, and leave a comment below to be entered into my 9K subscriber contest to win that awesome The Boys #1 Gem Mint Comic Tom exclusive variant and the Gleason variant for the Amazing Spider-Man 75. Be well, everyone, and until next time.